All right. The next class is Paladin. We'll start off with the legendary minion, Lanessa Sunsorrow. It's a 7 mana 1/1. Battlecry, cast each spell you cast on this Battlecry, cast each spell you cast on your minions this game on this one. So it obviously seems very powerful, even though it's so understated. Right now, the only real buff spells that are being kind of run in the average Paladin deck are Blessing of Kings and Stegadon Steed. So if you play both of those before this card, it's obviously super value. But that's kind of optimistic, having a really nice curve. So the question becomes, do you build a buff deck around this card? Is it that good? And my answer is no. I don't think it's worth building a buff Paladin around this card. On the reveal stream, it became insane. It was like a 15/15, can't be targeted, draw 2 cards. It was crazy. Had Divine Shield. But that was like best case scenario. I don't think this card is good enough. I just don't. On a perfect draw, yeah, it's insane, but I don't know. I don't think it's good enough. If you think it's good enough running just Kings and Stegadon and you have a really nice curve, maybe you play it, but I don't think it fits. I think Bone Mare is just more realistic. Bone Mare just has more value with less requirement, if that makes sense. So for that reason, I gave it a 3. I don't think it's very good. Alright, the Paladin legendary weapon is a 6 mana, 4 attack, 2 durability weapon. It's a Valenier. Death Rattle, give a minion in your hand +4/+2. When it dies, when the minion dies, re-equip this. It seems good when you look at it, but I think it's just too slow. It comes down to the same thing of like, do you play this on the turn before your opponent plays Bone Mare? If you do, you're just behind. So I think it's too slow. And for that reason, I gave it a 3. So I gave both Paladin Legendaries 3s, which is kind of on the fence on both of them. They could see a lot of play, but I don't think they will. I think they're just kind of in the middle cards that will see fringe play. I don't think they're good enough to spawn new decks. So that's my assessment of those two. Alright, the next card is a 6 mana 5/5 minion for Paladin, Crystal Lion. Not a beast for some reason. It has Divine Shield, and it costs 1 less for each Silverhand recruit you control. This seems insane in Wild. I think it's good in Standard. It's a 5 in Wild, but in Standard, I think it's a 4. It's not quite as good as Thing from Below, but it's close. It doesn't keep the effect because you have to have a board. But if you got this for, a 4 mana 5/5 with Divine Shield for like 4 mana, that's super good. So I gave it a 4. I think it's a 4 in Standard. It's a 5 in Wild for sure. Super solid. The next card is a 5 mana spell called Level Up. It's give your Silverhand recruits +2/+2 and Taunt. So it's similar to a Quartermaster, but it gives them Taunt, and you don't get a 2/5. I think for Standard, it's very slow. I think for Wild, it's insane, because it's so easy to make Silverhand recruits in Wild. So in Standard, I gave this a 2. It's just too slow, I think. It requires too much of a board to get value. Like, people don't really play Stand Against Darkness or anything, so I don't know, it just seems too slow. Alright, the next card is a 4 mana spell called Call to Arms. It's recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less. I think this card is absolutely insane. It's just nuts. Because you could fill your deck with like dirty rats that you don't intend to play and play this and get like 2 mana 2/6 taunts for this card. It just has so many good pulls. It's nuts. It makes Aggro Paladin very, very good, I think. I think it's good enough to just play Aggro Paladin just off this card. So I think it's super solid. For that reason, I gave it a 4. I think this will definitely see play in Aggro Paladin. Alright, the next card is another weapon for Paladin. It's a 3 mana Unidentified Maul. Gains a bonus effect in your hand. So let's see what the bonus effects are. The bonus effects are Battlecry, give your minions Divine Shield, Battlecry, give your minions Taunt, Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 Silverhand recruits, and Battlecry, give your minions +1 attack. So you get one of them. It seems okay. I don't think it's overpowered or great or anything. I think you have to kind of decide, like, is this better than Rallying Blade? And I think most of the time, no, it's not. The 3 attack is relevant. Having 2 attack doesn't clear a lot of 3 drops. So I don't think this is necessarily better than Rallying Blade, and I'm not convinced it will see play. And it requires, well, almost all the bonus effects require a board to gain value. So I don't think it's good enough. For that reason, I gave it a 3, kind of in the middle. It could see a lot of play. It might not. I don't think it's going to see a lot of play, to be honest. All right. Next card is a 3-mana 2/4 elemental minion, Benevolent Djinn. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to your hero. It just seems unnecessary in Paladin. Paladin has so many other ways to heal besides this super understated minion. Like, you'd probably just play Wicker Flame over this. It just doesn't seem necessary. For that reason, I gave it a 2. Alright, the next card is the Paladin Spellstone. It's a 2-mana Lesser Pearl Spellstone. Summon a 2/2 Spirit with Taunt. Restore 3 health to upgrade. And again, in Paladin, it's pretty easy to gain health. So this upgrades all the way from a 4/4 to a 6/6 with Taunt. So you can play a 2-mana 6/6 with Taunt. There's the picture of it. That seems really good. I think this would go in like any slower control Paladin. It's just a question if slower control Paladin is going to exist. Because a 2-mana 6/6 with Taunt is undeniable that it's good. And healing in Paladin isn't that hard. So I'm going to give it a 4. I think it's a 4. I think it's very good in control Paladin. Alright, next card is a 2-mana spell, Potion of Heroism. Give a minion Divine Shield, draw a card. It seems pretty solid. It's a basic card. I think it could see play in aggro Paladin or buff Paladin if either one becomes a thing. Just solid card. Cycle, give it a minion Divine Shield, gets a good trade. Early board advantage and possibly in a game. I gave it a 4. I think it's solid. And the last card is a 2-mana 1/1 Dry Gulch Jailer. The Death Rattle is add 3 Silverhand recruits to your hand. This card seems very, very good to me. People were talking online that you could play a Mountain Giant Paladin, which sounds kind of funny. Like you could play like Firefly and then this, and then just get like the Flame Elemental and 3 Silverhand recruits in your hand and like play Mountain Giant, which would be kind of hilarious. I don't think you're going to play Mountain Giant Paladin, but the value this card generates is undeniable. It's great in hand buff Paladin for sure. It just seems like an insane value card. I gave it a 4 because of that. I think it's very solid. So that's the Paladin cards. Let's go back over. The 2 legendaries I don't think are as good as people are saying they are. I think they're just kind of average-ish cards. I don't think they're worth building a deck around either one. Crystalline I think is very good. Level Up is too slow. Call to Arms is great in aggro Paladin. Unidentified Maul isn't as good as Rallying Blade to me. Benevolent isn't good enough. Lesser Pearl goes in control. Potion of Heroism is pretty good. And Dry Gulch Jailer I think is pretty good as well. So overall I think Paladin did pretty well. Nothing like amazingly broken I don't think, but pretty solid cards nonetheless. So that was Paladin. Let's move on to the next class.